Is week 3 here in the 2025 season of Madden 24, and despite only having a +6 point differential, we are the only team in the AFC West to be 2-0. The Falcons, however, are also 2-0, and they will be our opponents here today. The Falcons have one of the more stacked offenses in the league. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, really nice 1-2 punch at running back. At wide receiver, they have the likes of Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Rondale Moore, even Ray McLeod. At tight end, of course, they do have Kyle Pitts, but we have caught a break this week. He is going to be injured, just out for 1 week with a hip pointer, so fortunately we won't have to face him down. And even their offensive line is pretty stacked with several former first-round picks, including Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron. Drew Dolman at center is the weak link, but they do have Chris Lindstrom, an incredibly good guard, one of the better at the position in the league, and then Caleb McGarry at right tackle. And the offense has been cooking to start the league. They are currently the second-ranked offense, just behind the Cowboys. And a big reason for that is likely to be the addition of Kirk Cousins to the squad, a huge upgrade over Desmond Ridder. However, after signing Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons made one of the more surprising draft selections in NFL history by taking Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 overall. A 23-year-old rookie. He's likely to sit behind Kirk Cousins for at least the first 2 years of his 4-year rookie deal. And he's got a long way to go if he is going to be the franchise guy going forward. And there are a handful of other interesting draft picks on the Atlanta Falcons, including Rook Orororo, which is one of the most fun names that I've ever had to pronounce, and Braylon Trice, who we may see in the rotation at edge today behind Lorenzo Carter and Arnold Ebiketie. As for our squad, we do have Corey Linsley back at center today. Joey Bosa is still out for another 2 games though, and although we do have the 4th ranked offense in the league, we're going to have to look for Justin Herbert to step things up today. He's had a pretty tepid start to the year, 410 yards through the first 2 games. He's not a terrible tally. He's gone 35 of 58 for a 60% completion, which is slightly underwhelming. And 2 touchdowns to 1 pick is definitely underwhelming. We had expectations, or maybe not expectations as much as hopes, of an MVP type season for Justin Herbert, but it hasn't materialized so far. We're going to need it to do so soon if he is going to live up to this monster contract that he did sign last offseason. And I think the way we'll try and get that done this week is by stopping Bijan Robinson on the inside run and forcing Kirk Cousins to beat us through the air. And then we will try and throw it deep as well. We'll try and establish our own run game. But as always, this throw it deep does give us the best balance of bonuses and drawbacks. Same focus players as previous: Joe Alt, Lad McConkey, Junior Colson, Kamani Vidal, and Zion Johnson. We do actually have enough staff points to add the 6th and final focus player in there. So we're going to add Quentin Johnston. We do really need him to have something of a breakout season this year. So all of the XP that we can get him is going to go a long way. As for weekly goals, we'll go for 15 first downs like we always do. We'll go for 250 offensive yards this week. We'll try and allow 30 points or less against this dynamic Falcons offense, and we're going to keep back in Justin Herbert to throw 2 or more passing touchdowns. We do get a skill point for Justin Herbert through practice this week. Tempted to go strong arm. He does already have 97 throw power, 89 medium and 91 short accuracy are both relatively high. We could get medium accuracy into the 90s. That might be the way to go. Under pressure and throw on the run are even fairly good. I don't think we can really go wrong with where we go here, but let's actually go with improviser, and that will improve throw on the run and throw under pressure potentially. So we get +2 break sack, +1 short, +1 on the run, and +1 throw power through improviser. So throw power goes up to a 98, which is a huge upgrade. So with that, we are just about ready to jump into this one. And we will again be using our custom play sheet. So on those downs where we really need a conversion, we really need a score, we need the perfect play to go to, we'll have plenty of options here to select from. But without further ado, let's head over to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, head up to the booth, and start calling the plays in this one. So over in Mercedes-Benz Stadium for this one, early season matchup between 2 undefeated teams. And someone's O has got to go in this one. We can't both leave with our records still unblemished. It's going to be one team or the other. And of course, we're looking to move to 3-0 here on the young season and really establish ourselves in the AFC West. I didn't anticipate being first in the division at any point this season. I guess early in the season is the best possible opportunity to be top, since it's the smallest possible sample size. But we will receive the kick here from the Falcons, and it will be Justin Herbert to take to the field first. Will Darius Davis get a chance to return? He won't, so we will just touch it back and allow Justin Herbert to lead his team onto the field for this one. A tepid start for Justin Herbert. We were really looking for him to step up this season, but it seems to be taking him a little while to settle into this new Jim Harbaugh offense. And hopefully we see him grow and progress and develop over the course of the season. And potentially we're looking more next season when we're going to be real, true contenders. But we're going to go back to that opening script that we led last week's game with. Starting out of gun tight, going with this mesh spot and hitting Hayden Hurst, former Falcon of course, on the shallow crosser. We then like to go with this stretch run on second down. And we haven't quite got as many yards as we would have liked there. It's going to be a 3rd and 6. So we will just go play action under here on 3rd down. And we are looking for Ladd McConkey on the left-hand side of the field. But it's broken up by Clark Phillips. A nice play on the ball as we look for our rookie receiver. But the ball does fall incomplete, and we're going to have to punt away here on our first drive of the game. So first drive of the game for Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. It looked to be a run to Bijan Robinson, but instead it's a quick throw out into the flat, but that's completely blown up by Asante Samuel coming up to make the tackle. And I think there's going to be a lot of that today, us trying to gamble on stopping the run. But we need to be robust and disciplined on the back end as well. And that's exactly what Asante Samuel Jr. was there. And it's going to be a 3rd and 9 for the Falcons. Kirk Cousins in trouble, and he is swallowed up by Khalil Mack. It's his first sack of the season. We saw Joey Bosa come up with several in our opening game of the year before we lost him to injury, and we need Khalil Mack to step up in his absence, and that's exactly what he's done there. Kirk Cousins couldn't find a receiver, couldn't get rid of the ball, and it's going to be back-to-back punts here on the opening drives of the game for both teams. Pinion punting the ball away from almost inside his own end zone. And so if the blocks can shape up relatively well, we should have very good field position, and we do. We're going to start at the Falcons 46. So a really good opportunity to put some points on the board early here as we look for Josh Palmer underneath this time. And Justin Herbert finds his man. It's going to be a 2nd and 6. And the Falcons seem to be sending a blitz here, so we're just going to try and run against it. And it looks like it's going to work out really well. A really good block from Josh Palmer up at the 2nd level. Ladd McConkey, though, has gone down clutching his ribs, and that could be another injury here. He is still on the sideline, just wincing and grimacing, so potentially not too serious for the rookie receiver. And Josh Palmer has made a few plays early in this game. We're going to see if he can make another one here at the back of the end zone, and it was almost complete. Just needed to try and drop that in over the head of AJ Terrell, and I thought we'd done exactly that. Ladd McConkey will return today. I thought we'd done enough with the high lofted pass towards the back corner of the end zone, but AJ Terrell just about managed to get back into the play. We're actually going to run a screen here on 2nd and 10 to J.K. Dobbins, and Andrew Norwell gets out well to make the block, and J.K. Dobbins breaks the tackle to convert for the first down. That looked to be swallowed up several yards behind the line of scrimmage. And we're going to see what we can do in the Falcons red zone. The play clock ticking down. We do manage to get the play off. There's not too much on, and Justin Herbert's got to get the ball away. Potentially we had a receiver in the back of the end zone there. I didn't really like any of those options. So instead we will go back to our favorite pistol formation in the red zone here, and we will try and hit Josh Palmer on that wheel route. And again, we have managed to do so, and he is into the end zone, but I think we're going to be flagged again for an ineligible player downfield. We have not been able to get that play working this season, as each time that we have called it, we have been flagged for a penalty, and I thought we got the pass away quickly enough that time to avoid the flag, but apparently not. We'll move it back to a 2nd and 15. I think we could have something here on 2nd down with Quentin Johnston in the slot, but unfortunately we do not, and it's going to be an interception in the end zone, and it's dropped. Thank God for that. Richie Grant it was. Justin Herbert scrambling away to his right, throwing the ball back across the field, and broken up by Richie Grant, but that could have been much, much worse. So on a 3rd and 15, we're going to take one final shot at the end zone before potentially kicking a field goal. And again, we've got a receiver at the back of the end zone. We do find him this time, and he brings it in. And it's Darius Davis, the smallest receiver on the field, comes up biggest in the red zone. And it was his speed that took him away from the linebackers trying to cover him. Troy Anderson, I think it was. He manages to get both feet in. Or does he? I'm pretty sure he does. Justin Herbert does hit his man. And pending the extra point here, we are going to take a 7-0 lead away from home. So Khalil Mack already in the zone here as the Falcons come out for their 2nd drive of the game. They do go to Bijan Robinson, but Derwin James comes up to make the tackle for just a 4-yard gain. And they're going to run out of the pistol again here on 2nd down, the Chargers. Again, they're going to run to Bijan Robinson, who breaks a tackle. And it's just diving attempt to bring Bijan Robinson down by, I think, Junior Colson. I think we might have to make an adjustment to our usual approach. We have been running a lot of big nickel so far this season, but I think we might just have to go out with our base defense more often here today. But we're going to send a little bit of heat at Kirk Cousins here on 2nd down. Derwin James blitzing off that left-hand side. Junior Colson bailing out into coverage, failing to keep up with his man. And Kirk Cousins dumps it off to Bijan Robinson, who manages to find some green grass. And a 17-yard gain takes the Falcons up to midfield. Really nice play from Kirk Cousins under pressure. Tui Pelotu getting in with a quarterback hit, but Kirk Cousins managing to dump the ball off before he could wrap up for the sack. So 1st and 10 for the Falcons, and I thought I was going to be in for a sack with the linebacker, but again Kirk Cousins manages to get the ball out first, and it's going to be another 5-yard gain, and we are all over the place with that one. Junior Colson failing to cover Drake London, which is a tough task for the rookie linebacker, to be fair. And it's going to be another 1st down, and we are painfully short on the defensive line at the moment. We have bodies, we just don't really have anybody worthy of a spot on the field, to be honest, as Drake London now goes down with an injury. With the absence of Joey Bosa, that's really testing our depth on the edge, as Miles Jack sheds the block almost instantly, forces Bijan Robinson back inside into the bodies. And we just don't really have depth at defensive tackle to begin with. We have Poona Ford, we have Sebastian Joseph Day, which is not a great pairing at defensive tackle, and we have pretty much nothing beyond that. I thought I'd done enough to cover Rondale Moore down the field with Junior Colson there. I saw him beat his man off the line of scrimmage, but I carried the route up the field, just not quite tightly enough. Colson got his hands out in front, but Cousins just dropped it in just in front of the outstretched fingertips. And the Falcons level it up as the 1st quarter draws almost to a close here in week 3. And we will have a chance to return this one with Darius Davis, and there could be some space open on this right-hand side. And the space closed up fairly quickly, but we will take it up to the 27 to begin our 3rd drive of the game. So we'll give the ball to J.K. Dobbins once more, as Robert Tonyan lays a decent block. J.K. Dobbins, a really good start to the season. I believe he is leading the league in rushing yards, and he has been taking a heavy workload from us so far this season. He only gets a yard this time. So that'll bring up a 3rd and 4. We will go out in empty, but motion Kamani Vidal into the backfield and try and pick this up on the ground. Really good blocks. Opens up a huge hole for Kamani Vidal. And does he have the home run speed to take it to the house? He doesn't. AJ Terrell comes across to make the tackle, but not before Kamani Vidal has ripped off a 39-yard gain. We lined up an empty for that exact reason. That was beautifully done. Get the Falcons thinking pass. Motion Kamani Vidal back in. And we're going to take a deep shot here because the Falcons are pressed high on the line of scrimmage. And if Quentin Johnston or Josh Palmer can win off the line of scrimmage, we could have a touchdown. Neither really managed to do so. And AJ Terrell again bats the ball away. So last play of the first quarter, we're going to hit J.K. Dobbins on a little halfback swing. He takes a heavy couple of steps and loses a couple of yards. I think that might be the last time we run that play because it's been very unsuccessful each time that we've run it so far. But it is all tied up here at the end of the first quarter in Atlanta. And I think we're pretty close to 4-down territory here. Certainly 4-down territory in terms of field position as Quentin Johnston wins off the line of scrimmage this time, brings it in and down inside the 5. I was just about to say field position, we are certainly in 4-down territory, but 3rd and 9 is going to make it difficult to get the yards that we need to go for it on 4th down. All of that is moot because Quentin Johnston beats Jesse Bates to the spot and makes a really good catch through contact. We saw him drop a couple last week, Quentin Johnston, but he managed to hang on there. And we're going to have a 1st and goal from the 4-yard line here. This is another one of my favorite plays in the red zone, out of the strong eye formation. And this is exactly the reason why. It's a terrible throw. Such a bad throw from Justin Herbert. We had Josh Palmer wide open. We ran the play to perfection. Justin Herbert rolling out to the right. The fake to J.K. Dobbins. And look how much space Josh Palmer is in. All he needs to do is loft it into this area of the field. Anywhere at the back of the end zone here would be fine for Josh Palmer to run onto. But it's just not high enough. He doesn't get enough loft underneath it. And Richie Grant is able to tip it away. And those are exactly the kind of plays that we need to see Justin Herbert making if we are going to take a step forward and really be a true contender. Not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs and beyond. Which is what the Chargers have struggled to do in recent seasons. So we will line up to go for it on 3rd and goal. Out of juice close at the moment, and I think we will go with it. But I don't really like anything there. We do have J.K. Dobbins underneath, and we take it down to the 2-yard line. And we've got a tough decision to make here. 4th and 2, or 4th and goal rather, from the 2. If it was from the 1-yard line, I would certainly go for this. The assistant coach wants us to go for this. I'm tempted just to take the points, though. Call me a coward. And I've accidentally gone out in punt rather than field goal. It's not a big deal because we're going to move back 5 yards and we're going to kick a field goal from the 7 rather than the 2. So ultimately, it doesn't matter. I was going to go for a field goal there anyway. Call me a coward, but I think we take the points, we take the lead away from home early in the game. I think early in the game, you just put points on the board. Stack up as many as you can, whether it's from touchdowns or field goals, and you can make 4th down decisions later in the game when you have the information that you need. Whether you are chasing the game, whether you need to, put yourself 3 points ahead rather than 2. But in the second quarter, especially when the second quarter's only just begun, just put points on the board. However, Kirk Cousins will lead the Falcons out for their second drive of the game. And again, it looks to be a run with Bijan Robinson. But instead it's play action, and Derwin James lays the wood and forces the ball free. It looked to be an incompletion down the field. It looked to be a completion, rather. But ultimately incomplete. Nice play by Derwin James. He's going to have to come out of the game. At least I wanted him out of the game. He's just moved back to strong safety. But the rookie Cam Hart is going to take his first snaps of the game here in the slot. Drake London again is matched up with Junior Colson, who does a really good job of covering down the field, to be fair. He's been really impressive so far this season, the rookie linebacker. And he does a really nice job there of covering Drake London for just about long enough that the safety could pick him up. And then he broke down to try and disrupt the underneath pass. It's going to be another completion for the Falcons. They've had really no trouble moving the ball so far today. And it is going to be another run to Bijan. Junior Colson not able to get there. He was close to making the play. But Bijan's gone 5 for 20 so far here today. And it's going to be a 2nd and 1 now for the Falcons. We are going to blitz to try and force them back a little further, which is exactly what Morgan Fox manages to do there. So 2-yard loss brings up a 3rd and 3. And that was exactly the result that we were hoping for. So that'll bring up an important down here. It's an errant snap. And there are far too many receivers crossing the middle of the field there to be able to cover them all. Rondale Moore makes his 2nd grab of the game. And so it's going to be another 1st and 10 here for the Falcons, and another run up the middle, which they do a really good job of blocking up. Tui Pelotu gets in for a tackle. But Bijan ripped off 9 on that one. So another 2nd and 1. This is becoming a familiar down and distance for the Falcons, and they just check down into the flat, where Christian Fulton comes up to make the tackle. And it's going to be another 1st and 10. Carrying Drake London down the field. What a play that is. Asante Samuel Jr. That's why he's one of the better young cornerbacks in the league. What a play. And we could do with another one of those if we are going to keep the Falcons out of the end zone here. And even potentially out of field goal territory. Don't manage to do so. Christian Fulton again makes the tackle, but Drake London back on the field after picking up a slight injury earlier in the game. Again makes the grab. He's been the most dangerous weapon so far for the Falcons. And we might have to rethink our approach here before too long. We have been running the vast majority of zone plays. Awful tackling. 3 players had a chance to wrap Bijan up there. And I get that he's not an easy man to wrap up and bring down. But we should have done a better job than that. So we have been running a lot of zone so far here today. But we might need to start trying to man up these receivers. At least put Asante Samuel. What a move, Bijan. I mean, that's not even bad tackling. That's just an incredible running back doing his job. We had opportunities to bring down Bijan there, but he just put the moves on several guys. Burst through the hole, and who was that? It was Asante Samuel. No, it wasn't Asante Samuel. I think it was one of our, I would say 4th string safeties, but they're not 4th string for us. They're starters. We have Derwin James, of course, but we've been playing him primarily in the slot, bringing him down in the box, occasionally at strong safety. But we have a bunch of what should be 4th stringers starting at safety for us, and it really showed there. So again, we'll get a chance to return here with Darius Davis. And again, the blocks shape up nicely, and he puts the moves on the Falcons this time. Says, Bijan, whatever you can do, I can do better. Maybe not, but it's not far off. So Drake London back on the field for the Falcons. Lad McConkey back on the field for us, and we'll hit him underneath here. It's just a 1-yard gain, though. So we need a big play here on 2nd down, really, to get a chunk of those yards back. And we do have one through Josh Palmer. And we're just bringing Gus Edwards to try and convert here and pick up the 1st down. And he just about manages to do that. Forces his way through the hole for 4 yards. And with a little under 3 minutes left on the clock, ideally we want to while all of that time away and finish this half by scoring a touchdown. Ideally, we do not want to give the ball back to the Falcons this side of half time. And again, we're going to look for Lad McConkey underneath, and this time we are punished as Jesse Bates coming up to make the interception. And Justin Herbert has thrown a touchdown. Unfortunately, it's to the other team. And we've been asking for that on a couple of occasions here today already. Richie Grant breaking up a couple that he could have come down with. But we're looking again for Lad McConkey underneath. Jesse Bates is the man that we find instead. And there's nobody back to prevent him from taking it to the house. And it is going to be a double-digit lead for the Falcons. I said I didn't want to give the ball back to them. Does that count? I mean, technically, we didn't give the ball back to them. We didn't allow them another offensive possession there, but it allowed them another 7 points. Jesse Bates now in the zone, which is only going to make our life harder. However, J.K. Dobbins, his life could not be easier at the moment. He's gone 6 for 50 as Andrew Norwell opens up a huge hole for him, and Quentin Johnston gets upfield to make a block as well. And we'll probably just allow this to run down to the 2-minute warning. We are, of course, going to try and score here in the first half, though. The Falcons get the ball back after the half, so I would much prefer to be down just 4 points than down the 11 that we are currently behind by. And I like the look of this. This is a play that we've scored a touchdown with already this season. And Justin Herbert is going to try and do the same again. And there is a flag. Could it be for pass interference? I wonder. And it is for pass interference. We are going to get the ball down at the 1 yard line, since I believe the foul occurred in the end zone. So the clock does stop, but we do have a chance to punch it in here. And we'll try and do that first with Gus Edwards. 2 Falcons in the backfield. Somehow Gus Edwards manages to fall forward though. But we will just go back to Gus Edwards. We'll try and run behind Andrew Norwell, who has been one of our better offensive linemen so far this season, to be fair. He was just a last-minute free agent addition before the start of the season. We didn't really have a legitimate starter at left guard rather. So Andrew Norwell was sitting on he was sitting at home on the couch basically. And so we plugged him in, and he's been absolutely excellent so far. So we will manage to get 7 points back just before the half. So that interception thrown by Justin Herbert, whilst not ideal, maybe is not going to come back to punish us quite as much as it might initially have looked like there. But that is contingent upon us preventing the Falcons from scoring again this side of the half. 4 points has to be the maximum that we are down by when we do go in for the break. So we'll see what Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson and Drake London can do with under a minute left on the clock. The first thing that they can do is gain 8 yards. We have set things up here so that Asante Samuel will be matched up with Drake London more so in the second half. He wasn't on that particular occasion, but we will be running more man coverage in the second half because Kirk Cousins has just been pretty much dicing us up as we have sat in zone. It's 14 for 17 at the moment, Kirk Cousins, and this time we do have Drake London covered by Asante Samuel. Tui Pelotu, it won't show up on the stat sheet at the end of the game, but that was a big play from Tui Pelotu. He won off the line of scrimmage almost immediately and forced a pass from Kirk Cousins much quicker than he would have liked. And we've done a really good job with Miles Jack to bail out there. And Kirk Cousins again under pressure. This time, I think, from Khalil Mack. And it does force an incompletion. And the Falcons are going to punt. And it is just going to be a 4-point lead at half-time. So we'll see what we can do with this return, which is absolutely nothing. And so we will just kneel away the remaining 17 seconds of the first half. So it's going to be a 4-point lead for Atlanta as we go in for the break. Not the best performance from Justin Herbert in that first half. It's been pretty much what we've seen from him so far. We've taken shots down the field when they've presented themselves. And we have hit Quentin Johnston on 1 at least. So we do kick to the Falcons to start the second half. I've changed slightly the approach in this second half. We are going to go throw it short. This is something that I don't tend to like to do because one of the drawbacks is the faster pocket degradation, which is never a good thing. However, If we can get the ball out quickly enough to make that moot, basically, then we may be all right. And we have, again, gone with stop the inside run against Bijan Robinson. I was tempted to adjust the defensive game plan as well because Kirk Cousins is having a very good game. And they are moving the ball through the air, the Falcons. And they are doing so again here to start the second half. However, with the exception of one big run, I believe, in the first half from Bijan, he's not really been able to get it going here today. I mean, he's been fine, but he certainly hasn't been dominant by any means. And I think if we can continue to at least slow Bijan down in the second half, the Falcons likely are going to try and run this game away. So if we can stop Bijan and prevent the Falcons from doing that, I think there's a chance that we can get back in this. And as we said in the first half, we will be running more man coverage. As Derwin James here does a really good job to break up the pass. Drake London, the target again for Kirk Cousins. He's been the target on a number of occasions here today. But Derwin James did a really good job to force a 3rd and 3. And Tui Pelotu again manages to win. But so does Drake London. Miles Jack in coverage this time, as well as our slot corner. But unable to break the pass up. And it's going to be another 1st and 10. This second half going pretty much the way that the first half went. Junior Colson doing a good job to wrap up Bijan, who has gone 4.7 yards per carry today. But it's Tyler Algier who comes into the game now for the Falcons. Good coverage down the field from Miles Jack. And almost an interception of our own this time. 37 is Christian Fulton. Nice play down that right side of the field to force a 3rd and pretty long for the Falcons. And again, we'll do our best just to hang in man coverage. Cover these receivers for as long as possible. We will commit to the pass. And it's drops this time. It was into traffic. Miles Jack was there. And I'm not sure it was Fitzpatrick. So the Falcons very, very short at tight end here today without Kyle Pitts. They don't really have a legit tight end on the roster outside of Kyle Pitts. So it's going to be a deep, deep field goal, but it does sneak inside the right upright there. Michael Penix Jr., the number 8 overall pick for the Falcons, on holding duty. That's a top 10 pick well spent. But the Falcons will kick. And they do now have a touchdown lead. But we do have the opportunity to tie things up here in the 3rd quarter. And when we were 21-10 down, approaching half-time, it looked very much as if we were... It looked very much as if the Falcons were going to start to run away with the game. So to be just down a touchdown with an opportunity to tie things up, I think we can't be too disappointed about that at this stage of the game. So let's run things with Gus Edwards. Again, I've run a stretch play with Gus Edwards. Didn't realise Gus Edwards was my back in that formation. I would have chosen a different play if I had, but that's on me. So we'll try and get back what we can of what we lost there. And it is Lad McConkey underneath. We do manage to hit him, I think, for the first time today. We've looked for him on a couple of occasions. No, it's his 2nd grab of the game, but only for 9 yards. And we're going to try and convert here. It's an awkward down and distance, especially from our 27. We're going to try and pick it up on the ground, but there's nothing there. Falcons all over that. I have no idea what to call there, really. In the end, we just call rather an inside zone. Maybe a bit too conservative in that particular situation, especially on our own 27. If we were even approaching Falcons territory, maybe the run is a better choice. So 1st and 10 for the Falcons from their 30-yard line, and Drake London has put the moves on me there. He absolutely left me for dead. And I like this. I think the approach in this second half needs to be send a bit of heat at Kirk Cousins on 1st down. Force them into second and long as the ball clanks off Drake London's hands and falls incomplete. Force the Falcons into second and third and long situations. Run man coverage, put Asante Samuel on Drake London and force them to beat us through the air. Bijan down the field, Miles Jack in good coverage as well on the tight end. Forces the incompletion from Kirk Cousins. And it is going to be a 3 and out for the Falcons. That's exactly the approach we need to take in this second half, I think. So let's see what we can do with this return. We haven't got too much going on the returns today. That's a half decent one. He took what was there for him, Darius Davis. And we're going to go back to that script that we ran on the opening drive of the game. We do have a couple of variations that we can run out of those formations. One of which is to go to Lad McConkey rather than Robert Tunyon, which is what we did there. But both teams doing a really good job on first down today. Forcing the opponents into second and third and long situations, and J.K. Dobbins can't bring that one in. So it might be back-to-back 3 and outs here for the Falcons and then for us. And J.K. Dobbins is struggling to get out to the screen. Eventually he does, but there is a flag down. It might be a block in the back or potentially a hold here. It is going to be a hold. And so we managed to convert on third and long, but Corey Linsley, back from injury this week, is going to make it a 3rd and 18. And I had my play sheet to my right-hand side, but there isn't really a situation that the play sheet has for us. And we're just going to try and throw it away with Justin Herbert. Absolutely nothing materialised down the field. And Justin Herbert is 10 of 20 for 76 yards today. And again, we're going to have to punt back to the Falcons as we indeed do go 3 and out, just as they did the drive before. And the Falcons returner has taken several steps forward there, which means that he couldn't return it. So let's go with that same approach that we went with on the previous drive. We're going to send some pressure. Not too much, but a bit of pressure at Kirk Cousins on first down. Unfortunately, he does manage to get the ball away. And that very much throws a spanner in the works. We were relying on having the Falcons in second and long, but second and 4 is perfectly manageable. Good tackle, Miles Jack. 3rd and 4 is just as manageable, but we'll certainly take the loss of down for the Falcons. This time we'll have Derwin James in the box, but again it's complete underneath to Drake London. I've lost count of the receptions that he's made today. It is 7, only 63 yards, but he's come up with those receptions in some really big spots for the Falcons. And it's going to be another 1st and 10. The Falcons with very few negative drives here today. And that's going to be another good tackle by Miles Jack as Atlanta bring up just 51 yards rushing. They have managed to move the ball through the air, though. It's been the complete inverse of what we've been able to do. We've been able to move the ball on the ground, but Justin Herbert has had a pretty torrid day as Junior Colson is in for a tackle for no gain this time. What a rookie season he's beginning to have. I think we could have a potential Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate on our hands. It is early days, and I would like to see some more turnovers if he is going to really become that Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. And that's a huge tackle by Asante Samuel, bringing up a 4th and 1 for the Falcons, but it is at their 47-yard line. They may go for this. They're going to line up to punt, but we are just going to go safe here because it is an area of the field where you could see a fake, but they do punt the ball away, and it's not a great one. It's just to the 29-yard line, so they barely even gain very much field position at all with the punt. So 1st and 10. Can Quentin Johnston win? No, he can't. Oh my days. Under pressure, and he was hit as he threw Justin Herbert. Troy Anderson was there to break it up. And I think we're moving too far away from what's worked for us so far in the game. We've rushed for almost 100 yards, and we're not even at the end of the 3rd quarter. And yet we are passing the ball on first down. I mean, we are down in the game, but only by a touchdown. But let's try and get back to the run game here, as I think that probably is going to be our way back into the game. Andrew Norwell for the first time doesn't manage to get off his block and up to the second level. And that allows Troy Anderson to make the tackle. He's been so good at that this season that I just followed Andrew Norwell just with the assumption that he would make the block and then climb to the second level and lead the way for J.K. Dobbins. That didn't materialize on this occasion, and again we go 3 and out. Have done a good job of preventing the Falcons from scoring. We're going to need to do that again here today. I'm not sure what happened with Morgan Fox there. One moment he was facing forwards, the next he was backwards. I guess that's what Bijan Robinson can do to a man. And I was going to send some pressure here, but I'm bailing out, as Kirk Cousins does the same, bailing out to the right-hand side. Big hit and a big cut stick by Miles Jack. The tight end, Smythe, does manage to hold on, though. And Tui Pelotu hasn't had quite as much success today as he has had in recent games. So he is going to come out of the game, and that is dropped by Darnell Mooney. That should never be a drop. We did see several drops last week, and we're seeing a couple here again today that probably shouldn't be dropped. So I am tweaking these sliders as I go. I do have a custom slider set out, and it is pretty close to finalized, but there are just little bits and pieces that I will be tweaking as I play through these games. So check out the original sliders video if you can, and make sure you follow along for updates. Wide receiver catching for the CPU is one thing that we will be tweaking, because again we are just seeing a few too many drops in situations where we probably shouldn't be. That being one of them, as the Falcons switch things up at the line of scrimmage twice. That's going to cause a bit of confusion. We do manage to cover Drake London, though, double team him with Junior Colson. Interceptions is another thing that I do need to tweak. We have seen a couple clank off the hands of Richie Grant here today, so that'll be something else that we address going forward. Do manage to force an incompletion from the Falcons, and it's just 24-17 as we enter the fourth quarter, and we get the ball back from the Falcons once more. Darius Davis, absolutely nothing there for him today, so Justin Herbert will come out and lead the drive from the 28. So Kamani Vidal takes to the field once more in place of J.K. Dobbins. Looking to get things going on the ground here in the second half. And this is exactly what we do there. A 6-yard gain for the rookie. And he'll get the ball here again on second down. Better blocking up front from Andrew Norwell that time. And by the left tackle, Rashawn Slater. But we'll bring J.K. Dobbins back into the game. And again, we'll go back to the run. 3 straight runs to start this drive here in the fourth quarter. And I see no reason to move away from the run here, as we'll go to Gus Edwards. All 3 of our primary running backs getting touches on this drive. We'll see what we can do here on 2nd and 3 with a bit of play action. Looking for Quentin Johnson down the field. Justin Herbert again just about manages to throw the ball out of the sack. And that's the issue we go with throw it short. When you do want a bit of time to allow the play to develop, it's just not there. But I think this is clear 4 down territory. We're on the Falcons 40. And it's a 3rd and 3. I'm not kicking a field goal from here, and I'm certainly not punting. Andrew Norwell with a better block that time allows J.K. Dobbins to pick up the first. And we're going to try J.K. Dobbins on a wheel here. That's just going to open up some space for Lad McConkey to work. And it's just a 4-yard gain. He's had a very slow start to his career. Just 3 for 13 today. And we're starting to move the ball here on this drive. Probably the most in rhythm we've been so far today. Another really good set of blocks up front. Really opening up some huge holes for J.K. Dobbins to burst through. 162 yards rushing on the day. And that's going to give us an opportunity to punch it in for the second time. Lad McConkey again underneath. Can't bring it in. So a 2nd and 10 from the 11. Good blocks, but we just can't find the hole. There was space outside. We kicked back inside with J.K. Dobbins and just got caught up on the block of, I believe, Robert Tunyon. And I like the idea of Quinton Johnston on the corner route here. Lad McConkey underneath if we don't have it. I think we do have it, though. Quinton Johnston towards the back of the end zone, and Herbert misses him again. Poor accuracy on that one. It was the perfect play call. We had Quinton Johnston. And again, Herbert just needs to lay it out towards the corner of the end zone. It's the exact right play call, because we saw Jesse Bates just on the edge of the end zone there. He immediately drifts towards the middle of the field. That means that corner route is going to be wide open, and we just need to loft it over the head of number 34. Maybe that's Clark Phillips. And it's just, it's too far out in front of Quinton Johnston this time. You can put that ball up. You can allow Quinton Johnston to go up and get it. We've seen this season that he can do that. But instead, we are going to have to settle for a field goal. And we're going to be down 4 points, which is always such an awkward number to be down by. So we really have to stop the Falcons from scoring here. If they do score, obviously it has to be a field goal only, and Bijan has broken one. That's his first real big explosive run of the game. He did have a decent run in the first half, but we held him to just the one. But that's been his most explosive run of the game, and it's come at exactly the wrong time. Just as we were looking to keep the Falcons off the board, that's when Bijan decides to break one. Miles Jack, no! That would have come at the perfect time, the first interception of the game. But Miles Jack can't bring it in. And at least we don't only see dropped interceptions for the CPU. We do also see them for us. But they're not something that we want to see. Miles Jack had a chance to change the game there. He has also been a good addition to the side. Another late free agency addition, like Andrew Norwell. And he stepped into the center of that defense. He's taken the green dot. And he has really led the team very well so far this year, but we really could have done with an interception there. Junior Colson sending pressure, and it's one of our fourth string safeties that I was bad-mouthing so much earlier on. Bijan Robinson can't catch him. Darnell Mooney's not going to catch him, and it's going to go to the house. I don't even know the guy's name, but I'm going to find out in a minute. Jasser Taylor, I would not have guessed that in a million years. Back in the safety position with Derwin James being the only decent start that we have there. But even Jasser Taylor is going to be able to keep that, going to be able to bring that one in, rather. And it looked for all the world that we were going to be down by double digits again. Instead, Jasser Taylor manages to change the game. And we put 7 points on the board, and instead we have the lead. Again, I think our first lead of the game. That's how it went last week against the Raiders. They led for pretty much the entire game before we managed to wrench it away from them in the fourth quarter. That's the way it's gone again here this week. But there is still about 5.5 minutes left on the clock. So plenty of time for Kirk Cousins to get things going again for the Falcons. I almost said for the Vikings there. I haven't done that at any point so far today. That was almost my first. Oh, and Miles Jack just over pursues a little bit there. It was decent coverage, allowing the completion underneath to Darnell Mooney initially. It's going to be a 2nd and 3 though for the Falcons. Bijan Robinson again with the ball. Again managing to put his moves, this time on Christian Fulton. But wrapped up eventually, and the clock will start to tick away here for the Falcons. So it's going to be a 1st and 10. About 4 minutes left for the Falcons to do something to win this game. Junior Colson with another good tackle. Can't prevent Bijan from gaining 7 yards first, though. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 3 for the Falcons. I'm anticipating a run. It's not. It's a little bubble screen or smoke screen of some kind out into the flat for Drake London, who does just enough to pick up a first. Tyler Algier into the game now for the Falcons. Tui Pelotu back in at edge to go up against Jake Matthews, and he wins against Jake Matthews. Not quite quickly enough to prevent Kirk Cousins from finding Fitzpatrick. I'm going to have to make another play here at some point if we are going to win this game, because the Falcons are moving. But it's Junior Colson again making a really good tackle. He's covered Drake London surprisingly well. Drake London has lined up in the slot on a number of occasions, and he's been responsible for covering Drake London. Not one-on-one, not man-to-man at any point, but it's still tough to cover Drake London for long enough for safety support to arrive. But he's done a very, very good job of that, Junior Colson. And again, that clanks off the hands. This time, I think of Fitzpatrick. It's actually Smythe. And I don't mind seeing drops from players like that. Smythe, not the most talented player in the league by any means. And it's going to be in a 3rd and 4 here. So we're going to commit to the pass. We are going to try and cover Darnell Mooney with Miles Jack here, which is a really tough matchup. And there's Drake London again in double coverage this time, managing to bring it in. Double-digit receptions. Only 81 yards. But a PPR fantasy menace today, Drake London. And if you get points for first downs as well, he's had several of those. It would be an incredible fantasy performance. One of the better fantasy performances with only 80 yards or so. And 0 touchdowns that you could have. And the Falcons really moving the ball. Only a minute and a half left on the clock as well, as a hole opens up for Bijan. But Miles Jack thankfully manages to close it before he does too much damage. And we are going to have to start thinking about timeouts here, because the Falcons, if they convert on this first down, or convert for a first down rather, are going to have all the advantages, because they're going to have the ball in our red zone with just about a minute left on the clock and the chance to win the game without giving us the ball back. However, Kirk Cousins does throw an incompletion through the back of the end zone. The Falcons will kick a field goal, and we will have about a minute and 3 timeouts to simply get into field goal range. That's all it's going to take. We don't need a touchdown here. We simply need a field goal, and we would walk it off for a 3rd straight 3-point win. I believe 30-27 was the score against the Ravens in week 1. 27-24 was the score against the Raiders in week 2, as Darius Davis fumbles and throws the game away. All we had to do was get into field goal range, and instead the Falcons have the ball at the 18. They could kneel if they wanted to before kicking a field goal with their final snap of the game. They are going to run the ball with Bijan, and it is going to be a tackle by Miles Jack, and we are going to take our timeout. But things are looking not great here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We had an opportunity to win the game, and Darius Davis put the ball on the ground, and we're just going to have to gamble here and really try and prevent a first down at the very least. It's going to be a 3rd and 2. We'll take our second timeout. If the Falcons convert here, it's all over. We can't really commit to the run though, because the Falcons do have 3 receivers on the field. It is a run, and it is a big tackle, so we will take a timeout. Number 51, I'm not 100% sure who that is, but it was a big play by whoever that is, and it is going to be field goal attempt by the Falcons. We will have about 40 seconds left on the clock, a little less. It's going to be 38 seconds, 0 timeouts, and we need a touchdown to win and a field goal to at least send it to overtime. Justin Herbert has been garbage today, let's be honest. We are going to give Darius Davis our faith and allow him to return this one as well, but he only gets it back to the 21. So Justin Herbert comes back out with an opportunity to win the game, but 34 seconds and 0 timeouts is a tough ask. We can't really throw to the middle of the field here at all. So we're going to have to look to the sideline. There's really not a lot on there, though, obviously, because the Falcons are obviously going to try and take away the sideline. So we're just going to spike. That leaves 17 seconds on the clock. I'm really just not even sure what to run in this kind of situation. But we're just going to pick a play and see what happens, I guess. And what happens is we get sacked and the game disappears. It's going to be a Falcons win. So as time elapses, the last play of the game is going to be a sack on Justin Herbert. And with no timeouts, there's no way to stop the clock. There's no way to run another play. And after back-to-back three-point victories, we find ourselves the victims of a three-point loss this time. Really good performance from J.K. Dobbins, but just not enough from Justin Herbert today. We only managed to put up 239 yards of total offense, and 163 of those were on the ground. 76 passing yards for our offense today is simply unacceptable. 225 for Kirk Cousins and the Falcons through the air. 125 on the ground for Bijan makes 350 total. Really good performance from that Falcons offense. Second in the league for a reason. And Justin Herbert just was not good enough today whatsoever. 12 for 26 for just a 46% completion rate. And 91 yards through the air. A touchdown and an interception for Herbert today. On the ground, J.K. Dobbins only carried it 14 times, but still broke 100 yards for 7.4 yards on the ground. Kamani Vidal went 16.6 yards per carry. 3 for 50. Only 2 yards a carry for Gus Edwards, but he did have the touchdown. Lad McConkey brought in 4 balls, but of course only 24 yards with only 76 total yards. 91 yards through the air, I think, without taking away the sacks. So there's not a lot of yards to go around. 24 for McConkey, 14 for Dobbins, 11 for Palmer, 24 for Quentin Johnston. That's another single reception game for Quentin Johnston. Defensively, Junior Colson was excellent again. He might be close to leading the league in tackles with 11 here today. Miles Jack with 8. Asante Samuel with 8 as well. Couple for loss for Morgan Fox. Interceptions, we did have one with Jasir Taylor towards the end of the game there. He's a name that we should look to keep an eye on going forward. No forced fumbles, no touchdowns. No, we did have the one touchdown, of course, with Jasir Taylor. He had the pick 6. And Junior Colson is indeed close to leading the league in tackles. Only Nakobe Dean and Trenton Simpson ahead of him if it wasn't for Miles Jack. So we do have the league leader in tackles on a massive 31. 7 more than Trenton Simpson in second place. And we actually have 2 of the top 4 tacklers in the NFL so far. So Junior Colson certainly putting together with a sack, 3 tackles for loss, and an interception to his name already so far this season. Definitely putting together what could be a Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign. We do, however, move to 2-1 on the young season. So we said somebody's always got to go, and it is ours. And we have a chance to get back in the win column next week with another divisional matchup, this time against the Denver Broncos. So we'll look forward to that in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.